Billion-dollar companies are at odds, and a 20-year-old Filipino recently lighted the fuse. Indian Wells tonight tennis garden Eala destroyed the world Coco Golf 62-20 number 4 in 54 burning minutes. Moving on to the BNP Paribas Open round of 164 for the first time in her professional life. However, this is what no one is saying aloud. Not yet. As soon as that last point touched down, Goff's approach to the net. "I'm sorry. I hate to do this," he said. A completely different competition erupted, not on the court, but in the boardrooms of multinational companies due to Alex's business war. Ella's name, her identity, and her quietly cultural value has been speeding up for several months. And what just occurred at Indian Wells, it wasn't that the outcome of the tennis match was explosive. Fasten your seat belts, because we're going to reveal extends well beyond rackets and ranks. This is the tale of how the young lady turned into the most fierce sought-after business asset in all of tennis for women, and the billion-dollar nobody foresaw your impending conflict. Every business empire starts somewhere peaceful, little and uninhabited considers looking. For Alex, it started at a Milo sports clinic located in the Philippines. A small youngster swinging a noise while the entire world paid zero attention. Her adventure began at the very grassroots Milo initiatives, clinics intended to stimulate athletic long-held aspirations among Filipino communities before worldwide fame was even close a practical discussion. She wasn't a child, was being sold as a prodigy who had a passion for sports. Nevertheless, the businesses were observing sooner than everyone agrees. You signed her initial endorsement agreement with Globe Telecom at the age of 8. That number once more. 8. Most kids that age are still discovering out tables for multiplication. Alex Ao was already in a business contract with among the largest in the Philippines telecom behemoths. It wasn't a transactional connection, was fundamental. Globe did not sign a tennis player. Globe signed a statement system, a belief that this a certain child was carrying something remarkable within her. In 2019, Nike was added to her repertoire 3 years ago. Following that, in 2022, she became a supporter of BPI, the Bank of the Layer by Layer. The Philippine Islands silently and deliberately a commercial infrastructure was being built surrounding a teenager who was concurrently moving up through each junior ranking worldwide. Babolat, the esteemed a French racket manufacturer with a long history, based in part on Rafael Nadal's dominance, provided her with tools, particularly the model of Pure Aero. The Philippines has had difficulties in the past to offer financial support at the government-level support for top athletes. The Philippine Sports Commission was based on a budget of about $23 million, hardly surpassing what one American college could a football team, all lots of player recompense. In light of this, the business support for IO wasn't only it was practical and a lifesaver. Without Babolat and Globe Nike, there might not have been a route to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Morca. There is no route to professional tennis. None of this. What's amazing isn't just that she was able to secure sponsors young. What's amazing is that each one company that pledged to her did thus. Depending on character, trajectory, and long-term intangible magnetic potential prior to the existence of a single WTA title, they weren't making a champion investment. We're creating the circumstances for one. And this is the query that ought to be keeping all rival brands alert. How much is loyalty at night right now? Value when the whole world abruptly wants to be with you first. Sometimes don't simply switch careers. Sometimes complete commercial timelines should be rewritten. Eala's arrival to the 2025 Miami, she was placed 140th in the open world, being granted a wild-card admission to a Grand Slam-filled WTA 1000 tournament royalty. She wasn't expected to progress beyond the initial round. The analysts, the TV hadn't circled her name. There were no cameras searching for her face in the hallways of the locker room. And then she began to prevail, defeating Galina. Madison Keys was vanquished by Ostapenko, the current winner of the Australian Open. Afterwards, in a performance that immobilized, she strolled through the tennis establishment onto the court against the second-ranked world Iga Swiatek and emerged triumphant. 3 Grand Slam winners were eliminated by a 20-year-old who wasn't even meant to be competing at that level. A year before Eala had been ranked, that one Miami run, number 140 propelled her to the WTA 100. Reaching, she was the first Filipino athlete in history. To accomplish that goal, her social media coverage skyrocketed. Sponsors who had been watching in silence all of a sudden started having combative internal discussions. Nike and Babolat grew closer. Significance to her narrative increased significantly. Morobus Globe Telecom's 10-year investments started to produce cultural dividends without a marketing division could have predicted. Industry experts started making striking analogies between Emma Raducanu and Eala, the British-Chinese celebrity who won the 2021 US Open and caused an instant commercial avalanche. The two athletes maintain crossover appeal in a variety of profitable markets: China, Japan, and the Philippines. And more the larger worldwide audience that tennis fervently longs for the Sky Sports host Gigi Salmon may have given the greatest controversial business ruling of the whole season. She evaluated that in terms of the appeal of a pure crowd and spectator appeal, Eala may already be the most prominent figure in women's tennis. Regardless its ranking, read that decision cautiously. Regardless of rating, that a single evaluation constitutes a seismic change in the way sports marketing functions. Commercial value tracked for decades. Ranking the top spot received the largest deal. The following deal went to number 2. The hierarchy was strict, numerical. Alex Eala is unpredictable. That model completely due to the masses during her practice sessions. The millions of people are watching her stuff, and her fans traveling abroad only to see her compete. That devotion surpasses a W to ranking, and every brand executive is listening recognizes the implications of that for their bottom line. In September 2025, a Facebook post went viral in the Philippines. Social media asserting that American Wilson, a maker of sporting goods, had offered $45 million to Alex Eala. Endorsement agreement, and that she had acknowledged the fake post accumulated more than $13,000, $6,700 comments, thousands of likes, and shares prior to fact-checkers being able to contain the wildfire, which comprised a fabricated remark that is directly credited to Eala, implying that she intended to donate the fictitious money to improving communities in the Philippines. Verifiles, fact-checking organizations, and Raper both released official refutes. Wilson had not made any such announcement. No formal declaration existed on both sides. The narrative was fully built. But pause for a moment and take in what truly happened. An entirely made-up agreement, with there has no foundation in recorded reality, produced 103,000 emotional responses during a single platform. Individuals shared it without confirmation. People rejoiced over it without verification. People discussed it without proof since the narrative felt emotionally accurate, since the audience desired for it to be authentic. As the Alexa's commercial appeal had grown to such an extent that a fake may create engagement with tidal waves. In the meantime, Aya's rail sponsor portfolio Babolat, Nike, Globe Telecom, the Philippine Islands Bank, and in July 2025, 2026. Milo Philippines publicly introduced Alexa as the newest representative for its historic My Milo Story campaign, a broad national program honoring the profound Filipinos' personal relationships with the brand throughout all age groups. The vice president of marketing at Milo, Lawrence Larico, described the alignment with accuracy. Eala's shift from being a grassroots participant to elite professionals who embodied the brand's 60-year history of constructing champions. It wasn't a transactional announcement of endorsement. Milo wasn't acquiring Eala's audience access. Milo was recovering its history. Since Eala really started her sporting career, the circle of life in a Milo sports clinic was finishing itself in public on a national platform with complete corporate ceremony. The campaign included a brand new television ad next to a pole champion vaulting Iga is aiming for 3 million submissions of Filipino stories under My Milo Story is an initiative using the hashtag intended to link grassroots athletic involvement with top-tier professional accomplishment. Then just 2 weeks later that the Indian Wells launch in Manila, the competition started even before Eala played one game, and the crowd was full. Her rehearsals, her Instagram hovering at 960,000, more than twice the numbers of similar W to ranked athletes. A day in the BNP's Life video Parabus launches, its official YouTube account became the competition with the most views content of 2026 by a significant amount. Even Coco Gauff admitted the phenomenon following their meeting in Dubai, expressing gratitude in public to Eala's supporters for flooding the center court and giving her credit with drawing in a completely new demographic to tennis professionals. Then arrived at Stadium 1 on Sunday night. Eala dictated each conversation from the baseline, exceeding Gauff in each of the 4 games of serve in the first set, generating 12 unforced mistakes against Gauff's 26, breaking the world record fours beat so thoroughly that Goff amassed 7 double faults before retiring with a left arm in the end injuries. Goff went on to explain her arm feeling similar to that of a firecracker exploding inside, the agony increasing gradually until continuing to develop a medical unjustifiable. It was just the second Goff's professional retirement career. Eala was standing on Stadium 1 and declared before the assembly, "I truly didn't wish to prevail in this manner, but this is still a significant occasion for me." Grace under worldwide scrutiny, calmness while the commercial machines all around her name accelerated faster than a 20-year-old's ought to be anticipated to navigate. Milo just asserted her tale. Her clothing is already owned by Nike. Babolat has her weapon already. Globe already owns her place of origin. And each other company observing that Stadium 1 performance is still figuring out the exact price of missing their opportunity completely. This is where the numbers start to truly astound. Eala's recorded career award money attained over $1.36 million as of late 2025. A number that, although significant for her age, signifies only the base layer of the construction of commercial architecture at an incredible speed. Prize money in isolation has very little bearing on this dialogue. It is the tiniest in elite athletes' component commercial appraisal. The real wealth, the category that defines wealth transfers between generations, licensing agreements, endorsements, content collaborations, as well as the type of ambassadorship of culture that goes beyond sport in its entirety. According to industry sources, that A-list companies are actively seeking significant collaborations with Eala, particularly captivated by her ability to connect many high-value markets concurrently, the Philippines, more broadly, China, Japan, Southeast Asia, and worldwide tennis audience. Her current WTA ranking hit a career high of 31 on February 23, 2026. In light of this Indian Wells breakthrough in the 4th round, more progress seems to be more than just likely, but unavoidable. Think on what is already included in her portfolio without one more contract. Nike, the most influential sportswear brand history. Babolat, the apparatus manufacturer whose history comprises 3 decades with the best clay court rival ever. Created Globe Telecom, a cultural resonance of the country throughout all Filipino demographics. BPI financial credibility of the institution. Milo's emotional genuineness at the grassroots level, putting millions of kids in touch with her who initially used a racket due to a brand informed them that they might become champions. Every sponsor has a separate overlapping area. None of them clash with her identity. They are all amplified. This portfolio architecture that was meticulously constructed over 12 years of intentional partnership. A building symbolizes something that the quantity of money might speed up retroactively. It was built by being genuine and patient. Company trying to get in now confronts a terrain where the majority of significant areas are already occupied. Her use of social media players of rate dwarves were ranked significantly above her. Double the number of followers of WTA athletes in a similar position. Disparity between her commercial appeal and her present position generates an exceptional prospect for arbitrage. Any brand with sufficient sophistication to act prior to the rating reaching the cultural reality, since this is the harsh commercial reality. When Eala unavoidably makes it into the WTA top 20, and the trajectory indicates that the